Warriors! Good morning. My name is Coach JB. I am the top health and mindset coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can think it in your mind, you can eventually hold it in your hand. And what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, why do I repeat the same things every single day? Because that's what they do to you, preemptive or predictive programming. Since you were an itty bitty baby, commercials you saw predictive programmed you into believe a certain way. And that's why most people are just over broke in a job, waiting for the weekend, dying to get to Friday, hating Mondays. Well, you were built into the system. John D. Rockefeller created your education system, and he's quoted saying, "I do not want a society of educated people. I want a society of workers." So welcome to your world. But we have the opportunity to break free from it. So yes, I talk about cryptocurrency on a daily basis on my channel, but I take a little bit of a different approach. There's so many great YouTubers out there. A lot of people are talking about how you're going to make thousands of dollars. What's the next low cap coin that's going to make you a millionaire? What is Ethereum going to do? What is Bitcoin going to do? I'm invested heavily in a lot of different cryptocurrencies that are fundamental cryptocurrencies. What I show my warriors is here's a fundamental portfolio that's going to change and mold and shape the world. Now, you've heard me talk about the quantum financial system and the fourth industrial revolution. Now let's stop for a moment. My experience, I spent 12 years in banking. I went to executive banking school and learned how to scale banks from the ground up. The part that I got really confused was how do we fund these banks? And when I found out that we're just printing money into infinity, we're in a debt-based trap. It's a mouse trap, basically, or a mouse wheel that we're stuck on, and they keep us trapped in this debt cycle. And what happens is they just control us through inflation, right? They inflate the products, goods, and services. What's happening right now, low interest rate environment. It's cheap to get money, so that stimulates the economy with credit, okay? And as you go out and stimulate the economy, the lumber costs more, okay? Your burger costs more. Your coffee costs more. Your gas costs more, but they do it slowly and methodically with their new flexible inflation rate, and you don't see it because you're trapped watching WAP videos, stuck on TikTok, playing video games all day, and addicted to Netflix series. So you completely miss it. So I'm here to teach you the boring things. So I'm going to talk about globalization today and the fourth industrial revolution, and how do I see cryptocurrency playing into that. Now I'm here to tell you, warriors, you're heading into the fourth industrial revolution. It's already on its way. It's here. It's already being built out, the infrastructure. Now remember, what we taught you is the third industrial revolution was computing. Now we're moving into connectivity. So we're moving from computing, so entering data, to you being connected and responding, and it responding to you and the data. So eventually, right now, AI needs us to operate. Eventually, AI won't need you to operate. So we'll be coexisting with AI-type robotics in our ecosystem. There'll be a robot right next to you working. And many of you middle class in the retail industry are about to get wiped out. That's a fact. They have signaled that to you. I've told you that for the last year. The C word, the pandemic, as you look this way, there's a whole nother narrative happening this way. Your jobs are about to get wiped out. But you have an opportunity of a lifetime right now to be involved or an early investor in the new infrastructure. And many of those are blockchains and cryptocurrencies that are currently operating that you can invest in at a very low cost. Not a financial advisor, not financial advice. So I want to first watch this in 2018. This is a TED Talks by Richard Baldwin. And he's talking about why will the future of globalization be so different. So I want you to watch this. Then we're going to talk, I'm going to show you something off the World Economic Forum, how they explain just a small paragraph around globalization. And then we're going to watch another video on a gentleman in regards to cryptocurrency and the fourth industrial revolution, and how I think XRP is going to be the change of the world. Okay, so let's watch these videos. It's going to be a little bit longer videos, but I'll narrate as we go along.
But ask yourself, why is it easier to ship goods than services across borders? And remember, the reason your job hasn't been globalized yet is because it's hard to ship services across borders, harder than goods. The reason services are hard to cross borders has to do with the fundamental reality of services. For many services, the service provider and the service buyer have to be in the same place at the same time. And the technical difficulties of getting service providers from one nation into the room with service buyers of another nation is why globalization up to now has been mostly in goods, not services. That's why globalization has been mostly about things that we make, not things that we do. But here's the thing. Digital technology is changing that reality.
Okay, I want you to think about what he's saying. He's saying this in 2018. Now, they needed to shift us to the fourth industrial revolution, the new quantum financial system. So what happened in 2020 that forced you into things that use technology? Zoom calls. Think about it. I've done more Zoom calls than I've ever done in 2020 and 2021. You now work from home, right? Some of you are not going back to a physical location. They literally forced you into this fourth industrial revolution.
Digital technology is making it easier for people who sit in one nation to do things in another nation.
Oh.
Now, before we look at how digital technology makes that possible, I want to look at the economic facts that will make it profitable. Imagine we lived in a Star Trek world where workers could teleport from one country to another costlessly. The economic question is, would they have an incentive to do so? And the answer is yes, given the absolutely enormous salary differences across countries. A US accountant, for example, costs 5 times more than a Polish accountant. And in a Star Trek world, Polish accountants would teleport into New York City accounting offices in the morning and teleport back home at night. And in doing so, they would save those New York accounting offices a whole lot of money. Now, we don't live in a Star Trek world. Workers cannot teleport between countries. But digital technology is creating something I like to call telemigration. Telemigration, people sitting in one nation, working in offices in another nation.
Boom. It's here, Warriors. They literally have moved you slowly and methodically to telemigration. Okay, now why does that have anything to do with what we're talking about in cryptocurrency? Think about it. As this happened, Warriors, everything's going to be, I'm going to send you money like an email. Everything's going to move at the speed of light. Supply chain's going to move at the speed of light. VeChain, XRP, cross-border payments, XLM, cross-border payments. The infrastructure is being changed dramatically. We're moving into globalization, communication versus just computing, Warriors. This is why cryptocurrency is going to be the real world solve. Now, I want to read this paragraph to you. Now, let me show you where this is coming from. This is the World Economic Forum. If this is globalization 4.0, what are the other 3? But I'm going to read this last paragraph here, and this is really important. You have to understand. The globalics upheaval, the globalization of 4.0, what I call the third unbundling, is what happened when Digitech allows arbitrage of international wage differences without the physical movement of workers. While globalization 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 were mainly concerned with people who made things for a living, since globalization focused on things that we made, globalization 4.0 is going to hit the service sector. They are literally predictive programming. Jerome Powell is saying it. I'm worried about the service workers. For World Economic Forum, I'm worried about the service workers. The freaking, it's everywhere. Oh my gosh, service sector, excuse me. Hundreds of millions of service sector professional workers in advanced economies will, for the first time ever in advanced economies, not impoverished economies, will be exposed to the challenge and opportunity of globalization. Worryingly, the service sector is also where the AI-driven automation will displace many workers. If the blue-collar workers disrupted by globalization 3.0 join the hands of the white-collar workers who will be disrupted by globalization 4.0, we may have an upheaval on our hands, what I called globalics upheaval, reading recent headlines. So think about that, an upheaval of where people come together and are rising up. That's why they're keeping you so distracted. They have you very, very, very confused. You're focused on Little Nas's 666 shoes. These are all things to keep you focused this way, so you're not looking this way as they switch it. They do not want the people to come together. Check this out. Every great transformation creates triumphs, Coach JV and the Warriors, for those who can seize the opportunity, and tragedy for those who can't. Future globalization will bring us to a better world if we prepare well and our governments take care to not let this happen too quickly. Explosive economic changes in the past have led to explosive social upheavals. Our governments need to help people adjust. If it all goes quickly, they will need to slow down. Let me walk you through this paragraph. I'm going to spend some time on this. It's going to take a little bit because I need you to understand this. Every great transformation creates triumphs. Coach JV in the Warrior Academy, going out there and quadrupling our portfolios and helping people all over the world, who sees the opportunity, and tragedy for those who can. There's going to be a massive separation in between the rich and poor. There'll be no middle class left. Listen to this. Future globalization will bring us to a better world if we prepare well and our governments take care to not let this happen quickly. So what did they do? Create a problem. Right? So you're over here, oh, I'm worried about the V, and I'm worried about the pandemic, and I'm worried about the C word, and half people are wearing masks, half people are not wearing masks. You're super, super duper confused. And so they're making it look like it's happening slowly and methodically, and they're helping you, right? They got you so distracted that you're not going to do an upheaval. Explosive economic change have in the past led to explosive social upheaval. Our governments need to help people adjust. So what they're doing is they're going to give you stimulus checks slowly and methodically, and they're going to make you lazy as hell relying on the government. Don't let your laziness fuck up your legacy, warriors. Straight up. Okay, so does that make sense where we're heading in globalization? And now I'm going to play this video. It's going to be a little bit longer. We got about 5 minutes on this video. But this is Bill Tai talking about cryptocurrencies, ICOs will fuel the fourth industrial revolution.
Dollar. So there was a declaration that, you know, the lira, a certain number of lira would be, you know, X lira to the dollar, a certain number of francs to the dollar, a certain number of marks to the dollar, British pounds to the dollar. So there was sort of a tree of value coming from one central thing that people trusted, that was gold. That actually only lasted 28 years. So in 1972, the French government had accumulated a lot of dollars, and they literally took the dollars to Fort Knox, to the Federal Reserve window, and asked for their gold. And President Nixon realized that if he let France do it, everybody would do it, and they didn't have enough to go around. You know, because what...
Stop for just a moment. Remember, your banks don't have your money. Fractional reserves.
What had happened was basically because of the economic productivity of the nations using currencies, they had stored up dollar bills. That was basically the key to having an economy. And once the gold standard broke, we moved forward into another era, you know, known as petrodollar. Because of the forcing of the countries in the Middle East to accept dollars as payment for barrels of oil, now you had a way to essentially guarantee your economic future as a nation by piling of dollars in your foreign reserve. And by doing so, you were essentially storing oil, which was the root of productivity in the age of the Industrial Revolution and an oil-based economy. So what's happened now is we basically move forward to a period of time where oil is still relevant, but electricity is more relevant. You know, if I basically gave you a choice 24 hours from now to cut off your access to oil or electricity, you would choose to keep electricity. The root of all your productivity today is not burning oil. It's what you do with the electrons in your computers, your smartphones, your daily life with light. And so I think what's happened is the backing of currency has moved from a fixed asset like gold to something that you could turn into economic productivity in the form of oil. And it's already moved to electricity, but we just don't know it. You know, so I think you hear this term, the fourth industrial revolution. Electrons are effectively the backing of currency in the fourth industrial revolution, and we're already there. So I think what you see in these ICOs...
That's the point when a lot of people make comments when I said that cryptocurrency is backed. Absolutely, cryptocurrency is backed. It's backed by its technology. The dollar is backed by only your confidence. That's it. Every cryptocurrency that has a real-world solve is backed by its technology, so it is a backed currency.
They're basically encapsulations of electrons that perform a certain function, and they're communities of interest that form around each set of those that believe a certain thing. You know, you can look at the nation state too. I think with the Industrial Revolution and military power, the nation state as we know it, that's also only existed for a few hundred years, and the shape of the nation state today is one that is there to protect the economic assets from the Industrial Revolution. As we go forward now, people are basically digital citizens where everybody's a little molecule in a distributed fabric, and people can join or not multiple communities of interest that are beyond physical borders. So what you see is groupings of people that believe in certain things. They have the same belief system, same culture, same whatever it is that they are interested in, and those have become virtual nations, virtual economies that are willing to trade amongst themselves. I mean, a dollar is really just a token of value exchange, as were pebbles and shells and the stones of Yap and credit default swaps. So
we're moving into a brand new asset class, which is cryptocurrency, and you're on the freight train. I'm very excited for you. Does that make sense? I'm giving you a different aspect. There's cryptocurrencies are going to continue to moon. We're going to have a big bull run. If you know the game, you'll be able to get out in time, to be able to invest back in, and you'll be able to change your life. Now, what I want to share with you, Warriors, is before I go into the Ripple part, is that this is going to be a slow, methodical change. It's going to seem like it happens slowly, methodically. It's happening fast behind the scenes, but slow, methodical. 10 years of history is going to get crunched into about 3 years. Around 2025, that's when you're going to see the main adoption of bank institutions. China hasn't even fully launched their CBDC. America will probably be a little bit behind some of the countries, taking their time because we're trying to hold on to that reserve asset, the dollar, right? That's the only reason that the dollar has value, because of our confidence in it. That's it. There's nothing backing it. There's no true value to it. It's literally, the inflation is making your dollar worth less, but you're sitting back watching your WOD videos, worried about your sports teams coming back up when you have the biggest shift in generational wealth happening right under your nose. So the role of blockchains and digital assets in cross-border payments. I want to read this. In the last discussion, we showed how fragmented landscape of cross-border payments is being redefined by iOS standards and the refreshed technology approach to RippleNet. Today, cross-border payments are on the cusp transformation. Blockchain technology and digital assets like XRP can create a more frictionless cross-border payment experience. At Ripple, our mission is to remove the friction of global payments to enable money to move the same way information does today. Digitally and instantly, we work with the bank payment providers to modernize legacy systems using blockchain digital assets to make sending money around the world easier, faster, and reliable. Our philosophy is to provide each payment provider the real-time connection to global networks called RippleNet. The rigorously adheres to the iOS 2022 standard, enabling these organizations to send and receive payments on behalf of their customers between each other immediately, with finality and transparency, regardless of the amount of money being sent or the currency that needs to be sent to them. So are you understanding that we're going from computing? Computing is the SWIFT system. I go over to see Kev, I go to send a wire, Kev goes to see his bank manager, he goes to send it over, he comes back to the customer, and then, Kev and I are sending a wire from Germany to Japan, I'm sending it to Japan, and he's sitting over there waiting for his wire. I could go on and on the infrastructure. Now I just sit down in front of a computer, I say, hey bankers, send my wire to Kev, he's buying a house in Germany, boom, within seconds, our money's over there. You don't even know Ripple exists. Also, RippleNet, the cloud system, can be up and running within 5 weeks for banks. This is the solve for financial institutions, Warriors. So as your infrastructure changes and they move you to globalization, it's not a choice. It's not will you move to globalization, will you move into the fourth industrial revolution? You're already there, Warriors. Okay? You're already there. The choice you have to make is am I going to take advantage of this, or am I going to let my laziness mess up my legacy? So if you want to be part of one of the best Warrior Academies in the world, you click the link down below. You can join a Warrior Academy. We have a 120-day challenge. Mind, body, immunity, goal setting, vision board creation. Also, we have our subconscious mind programming around wealth. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't change your mind. Cryptocurrency courses, on-chain analysis, technical analysis, access to my portfolio, exit strategy, and one of the best crypto communities supporting each other into this quantum financial system as we grow together. You have a cryptocurrency call with me every single Thursday, technical analysis call on Friday. We keep you together in an ecosystem to help learn and grow as one unit as we take advantage and become the uncommon 1%. They're going to take advantage of this pandemic. You may as well, and support your family. As we always say, Warriors, rise. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, CoachJB_, and the Coach JB podcast. Let's go.